Hey, welcome back. My name is Micah, and today we're going to be doing a 1-year review of the Deako Smart Switch. It's been about a year since I posted my first video on how to set up and configure your Deako light switches, and I'm just going to be giving you a review on kind of what's been going on since then and an update on everything I've done and how I think you can benefit from it. Stay tuned for the end of the video where we'll be going over a new product regarding smart home lighting that I think you'll be interested in. But first, let's go over this automation that you just saw for this automatic entry door light. So at any point now, this light's going to turn off as it's set to an automatic timer for whenever my Ring door switch actually tells me that the door's been open. I don't need to use a voice command or actually touch this button at all. It'll automatically turn off after a designated time. And I use this every day as I go in and out of the house. Again, after 1 year, I can say I'm still just as excited today as I was after my first video. The reason is because I usually literally use these lights every single day. I just saw you the front entry light video that I leave my house at least once a day. That's always in constant use. I'm always constantly dimming my downstairs lights now that I got the smart dimmers to adjust the brightness from the daytime to at night. I have them upstairs, I have them downstairs, I have them outside of my house. I have things that activate based on doors, based on motion sensors, kind of all things, and I love it. You don't have to worry if you don't want to get too complex with all the usage of these smart automations with your lights. They work perfectly fine. It's just lights, turn them on and off, or just using your phone without any sort of voice commands or things like that. I'm not going to go into super detail on all the automations like I did on that first one. You can go as simply as turning on the lights, or you can layer on different devices that might be in your Alexa app. Make sure I haven't disabled it. But there's different devices in there that you can use and add to layer to your automations on top of your lights. One of which is your TV. Actually, let me go ahead and show you that now. A couple ways that I can actually do this automation. Again, not going to go into super detail. I can start it by voice command. I can initiate it on my phone. I can even go on my light switch and activate it, and that's what I'm going to do. This is my dinner time automation. Basically just hold this one and it will dim these lights just to the right setting for dinner, and then I'll actually turn on my TV right behind you to Netflix, what I like to watch during dinner. Stuff as simple as that, perfect for it. Instead of just resetting all my lights, let me go in here on my phone and just start this. All right, so we have my phone. We see that the different levels of dimming here. I can just drag this, wrong light. I can drag this kitchen room light here brighter and brighter and reset that light right there. Also have one light above me. I can drag that brighter, turn on a light back there, which I'm gonna turn off. I can turn these back on and off. Different things from the app that I really think are cool. Also, one of the cool things here that I'm not gonna get into super detail about are zones. As you can see, I have a downstairs zone, upstairs zone, and all lights. If I can actually use this zone here, and it will dim both lights at the same exact time based on this bar here. So now they're all low, and they're all high. A little delay there, but I have a lot of things running at the same time. And that's what's great about it, it just works. In terms of an update, as far as what switches I have and where I've placed it, just so it might help you, I find myself on the first floor a lot of the time, so I have this entire floor connected with smart lights. Upstairs, it kind of gets patchy here and there. My guest rooms don't have smart switches. My main bedroom does. I also have stuff in my main bedroom and my bathroom. The hallways are loft area up there, and all the bathrooms. So the dimmable smart lights are a little bit more expensive, but I can tell you that they are definitely worth it. My entire first floor is all dimmable. I wish I had more upstairs, but it's well worth the increase in price because they do everything that the regular smart switch can, but it's, you can dim it. And that definitely helps certain points of the day, different automations, whether it be outside or inside. I have a video that I'll show later actually for the front of my house where, you can dim the lights. One of the advantages of the smart dimmers is the energy savings. I'll actually show an image of the energy dashboard that you can see through your Alexa app. Not sure if Google has that, but I typically use the Alexa app. There's an energy dashboard where you can see how long lights have been on, like usage patterns and how much energy they're using. The dimmed light switches, of course, use less energy. I have that on my front of my house. The light that stays on every night, I have that dimmed to about 50% all the time, saving 50% of the energy cost that would normally be 100% brightness. Small things like that, little improvements can help definitely every day. One advanced tip that I would recommend you guys use are scenes and zones. Kind of how I just showed, you can control multiple switches at one time and do things that you could do by voice command, multiple voice commands, or on your phone, but just at the tips of your finger. Like I said, you could just hold a button for a few seconds and do multiple things. Like I said on the first entryway video, there's a scene to turn off all of the lights in your house. On the front of my steps at the bottom, I have a light switch that is a scene to turn off just the downstairs lights. If I go up the stairs, I have a wall panel there that's got a duplicate for the light downstairs and upstairs. So on the light next to that controls the hallway lights, it's another scene to just turn off the upstairs. So just different scenes like that can definitely improve, just in case like you don't care to do a voice command, you don't have your phone handy, maybe people are asleep, you don't want to wake people up by screaming, or not screaming, telling your smart device to turn on certain lights. You just kind of want to be more discreet about it, just hold the button and do what you need. It could be a bit of a journey. I started with just a few light switches myself, but as you continue to grow the number of Deako switches that you have and replace your simple rocker switches, you'll find yourself reconfiguring where you have those placed. For the longest time I had the simple motion timer in our laundry room, but I since then moved those to all of our bathrooms, one downstairs, one upstairs. You can also use spare switches to do tasks that normally they wouldn't. So I have, like I showed in my first video, I was showing you the Generation 2 and the Generation 1 switches. One of my Generation 1 switches, I kind of just had an open place for it, not really sure what I was going to do with it. I ended up putting it in my guest bathroom, and that's actually my simple timer switch for my bathroom. It doesn't have the motion detection, but because the smart switches are so versatile, it can actually do both. One thing that I didn't utilize early on is the use of timers in the app. As soon as you turn on a smart switch, a timer will start going on in the background to when that light should be turned off. So if you're prone to leave on a certain light, for hours without you knowing, you can always set a high limit to that timer to where if you did forget, it will turn off after 2 hours. Or say you didn't forget, you could just turn it off yourself. Or in the case that you accidentally left it on all day, it just does it automatically. So setting timers can definitely be a big help. Another thing is, if you happen to have any issues with your lights, there's a quick and easy way to solve the problem. Say your lights aren't responding to voice commands, you go to the light and you click it and it just doesn't do anything. At that point, the easiest way to fix that is to just go here, pull off your panel and pull out the tab. Once you pull off the tab, if this light wasn't responsive before or wasn't working for whatever reason, you just click it back in. And that will power cycle it. The light will be off, so you don't have to worry about it staying on. And after it power cycles, it'll be back to normal, and you can use it as you normally would. So that's like the easy fix for basically any problem that you have. Just power cycle it by removing and putting it back in. And yeah, so now that I've given that light some time to kind of refresh, come in here my app, reconnect to this, make sure everything's up to date. And that light comes right back on, just as it would before. Pretty much fixing, like I said, any issues that you might run into. So there we go. After a year of having these Deako smart switches, I don't know what I would do without them. It would really be hard to go back to using normal switches and not being able to do the things that I've come accustomed to. Yes, these features are nice to have, but once you have them, you won't want to let them go for sure. So on the side here, you've probably been looking at different clips for some of my old videos that I had. Automatic porch lights. I did motion detected lights downstairs for not only my Christmas lights, but this backlight for if I'm getting a drink of water. I did a video that was using the remote to turn on Deako smart plug that I connected to my Christmas tree. There's lots of products that Deako has. They're always coming out with more. Turn off kitchen light. So what I like about the remote, you're wondering why I had it this whole time. If you didn't watch that video, what I like about the Fire TV is they come with the remote, so I don't have to say the Alexa word, the wake word. If I want to do things, I just hit the button and say what I want. Anywhere in the house. So that's really cool.
Showing results for the wake word. I don't want to do things. I just hit the button and say what I want. The first one is marble.
One other thing to mention is your ecosystem. Some people have different products from Amazon, Google, HomeKit, Apple, different things. But because I typically focus with the Amazon products, everything integrates really well. I have an Amazon security system, which also adds additional sensors and things that I can use for automations. I have TVs where I got the remotes and they can turn on the show that I want with the lights and play music, things like that. So your ecosystem is important. If you're just starting out, it's very easy to continue to buy the same products. Once you have a mix and match of things, it could get difficult to pair everything. I'm sure maybe eventually you could get it to work, but it might take a little bit longer. One of the great things about Deako though is even outside of the smart home ecosystem that you might be in, Deako's created their own ecosystem. They have, like I said, plugs, simple timers, dimmers, smart switches, which are pretty much universal, but within those you can place them wherever you want. So the automation that I showed you at the beginning in my back entry where I open the door and the light automatically turns on, it goes off after a certain time. You could just take a Deako simple motion timer and stick that on there, and anytime you open the door or walk past, the motion sensor is going to turn on that light, and then you can set your own timer on there with the switch built in to what time you want it to turn off. That's going to give you the exact same automation without having to deal with Amazon or a different system such as the security switch that I have on my door. So there's multiple ways of doing things, and as Deako creates more and more products, it's only going to get more easy. And within that, you can combine Deako's ecosystem with whatever else you have, Google, Amazon, and make them work together. With that, some of the things that I could see where Deako could improve is their availability of switches. Even though they have a good catalog now within the switches and their plugs, I could see that growing in the future. One thing that I'm looking forward to them having, once they do or if they do, is a smart fan controller. I think they might have come out with their simple controller for their fans, but if it was a smart controller, then you could again use your voice commands to turn on a fan. Without the voice command, you would have to use the pulleys to turn it on or the switch itself. Maybe you have a remote control fan, but you have to find the remote. One thing that I did to fix that fan solution for me is actually plug a standalone standing fan into a Deako smart plug, and that way I left the fan all the way on high and I could just voice command it to turn on, and it's always gonna go to that that same speed, but it works for me. Another thing that I can see happening is a smart motion controller. So right now the simple motion timer switch isn't smart. Based on the motion, you can't tell it to do other things. So you're reliant on motion sensors from like a Ring or some third party. I think once they implement that within their switches or some other device, I think it'll also definitely benefit Deako. I think the one main benefit to Deako over anything else is the fact that you can remove the switch and put it wherever you want. So right now I'm happy with the setup, but if any time I wanted to switch it up, say instead of having my downstairs be dimmable, I actually want my upstairs to be dimmable. I could just remove all these switches, put them upstairs, take my ones upstairs, put them down here, and have a completely different experience without having to pay extra money, having to hire anyone to come and do the work for me. I just do all that myself, simple and easy. But there you have it. I hope I've jam-packed enough information in this 1 year review for you to know that it's a deep rabbit hole and there's a lot to learn, but it's very easy and anyone can do it. I hope this encourages you to start your own smart home journey and helps you in the future. But before I go, I did want to mention the special announcement that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So one thing that's cool about lighting in your house is your lights, perfect for at night, in the morning where there's low light situations. Certain times of day, depending on the number of windows that you have, you might be using windows for the most part. You might not need your lights for most of the day. Say you work from home and you don't use your downstairs lights most of the day, you just open and close the windows. Well, they have a smart lighting solution for that as well. So hopefully I will be getting my hands on some Sunsa wands, which actually attach to your windshield. So there's an image of that here. Basically another way to get light into your house. If I can get my hands on some Sunsa wands, I'll definitely want to do some testing with different lighting sources between your windows and the lights. So say maybe at night the lights come on, during the day the windows come on, or maybe there's some sort of smart switch between windows and lights at a certain point in the day at sunset. So hopefully I'll be looking into that and report back to you with anything that I find. That's all we have for today. Hopefully this has been very informational for you and has helped you. Let me know if you have any questions below in the comments. If you need to know anything, need help with something, I'll be sure to read those. I read all my comments. If you just want to subscribe to the channel, you can also do that. That wraps everything up. Until next time, we'll see you back here for more DIY home automation tech tips from your guy, Micah 2 Scoops. See ya.